What if I told you that Florida's housing market just witnessed its steepest price drop in over a decade, with some counties seeing values plummet by 23% in just 6 months? You might think I'm exaggerating, but the data is staggering, and if you're considering buying property in the Sunshine State, this could be the most important video you watch this year. I'm about to reveal why real estate experts are calling this the beginning of Florida's most significant housing market correction since the Great Recession, and more importantly, how you can navigate these treacherous waters without losing your shirt. Before we dive deep into this market analysis, I want you to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're covering the most critical real estate developments that could save you thousands of dollars. The information I'm sharing today isn't just speculation, it's backed by hard data from industry professionals who saw this crash coming months ago. If you find this content valuable, please show your support with a like and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening right now across Florida's real estate landscape. Miami Dade County, once considered an unstoppable force in property appreciation, has experienced a shocking reversal. Median home prices that soared to astronomical heights during the pandemic boom are now retreating faster than anyone anticipated. Orange County, home to Orlando's theme park economy, is seeing inventory levels surge by 47% compared to last year, while buyer demand has virtually evaporated. This isn't just a minor market adjustment. This is a fundamental shift that's catching both seasoned investors and first-time homebuyers completely off guard. The warning signs were there for months, but many chose to ignore them. Property taxes in Florida have skyrocketed as local governments struggle with budget deficits, adding an unexpected burden to homeownership costs. Insurance premiums have doubled, and in some coastal areas tripled, making the true cost of owning property far higher than the purchase price suggests. These hidden expenses are forcing many current homeowners to sell, flooding the market with inventory just as demand is drying up. What makes this situation particularly dangerous for potential buyers is the psychological trap many are falling into. They see prices dropping and think they're getting a bargain, but they're not accounting for the broader economic forces at play. Interest rates, while showing some signs of stabilization, remain significantly higher than the rock-bottom levels we saw during the pandemic. This means that even with lower purchase prices, monthly mortgage payments might actually be higher than they were a year ago when prices were at their peak. Now, if you're someone who's serious about real estate investment and you're looking for opportunities even in this challenging market, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, New Silver. New Silver specializes in fix and flip loans and investment property financing, offering solutions for experienced investors who know how to navigate volatile markets like the one we're seeing in Florida right now. If you're ready to take your real estate investment game to the next level, and you have the experience to handle market fluctuations, check out the first link in the description below for New Silver's fix and flip and investment loan options. These aren't for casual buyers, they're for serious investors who understand risk management and market timing. Here's where things get really interesting. The demographic shift happening in Florida right now is unlike anything we've seen before. The massive influx of retirees and remote workers that drove prices through the roof during the pandemic is reversing. Companies are calling employees back to the office, and many of those who relocated to Florida are discovering that the dream of tropical living comes with some harsh realities. Hurricane seasons are becoming more severe and costly, property taxes are climbing, and the overall cost of living has increased dramatically. But here's the kicker, and this is something most buyers don't realize until it's too late. The Florida housing market operates differently than most other states due to its unique demographic patterns and economic drivers. Tourism, agriculture, and aerospace industries create boom-bust cycles that can be incredibly volatile. When these sectors struggle, as they are now with reduced tourism and agricultural challenges, the ripple effect hits the housing market hard and fast. Don't forget to support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. We're working hard to bring you the most current and actionable real estate information available anywhere on YouTube. Your subscription helps us continue this important work of keeping potential buyers informed during these uncertain times. I want to share with you involves what's happening in specific Florida markets that might shock you. Cape Coral, which was one of the fastest growing cities in America just 2 years ago, is now experiencing a construction slowdown that's left partially completed developments scattered across the landscape. These unfinished projects represent millions of dollars in stranded investment and signal a builder confidence level that's at historic lows. When builders stop building, it usually means they see trouble ahead that the general public hasn't recognized yet. Fort Lauderdale's luxury condo market tells an even more dramatic story. Units that were selling for $3 million 18 months ago are now sitting on the market for $2.2 million with no buyers in sight. The wealthy buyers who drove this segment of the market are pulling back, either because they're concerned about overvaluation or because they're seeing better opportunities elsewhere. This luxury market retreat often precedes broader market corrections, making it a critical leading indicator that smart investors pay close attention to. Tampa Bay's story is particularly telling because it represents the broader Florida experience in microcosm. The region saw explosive growth during the pandemic as companies relocated from higher-cost areas and remote workers flocked to the region. But now, with companies like Goldman Sachs and JP Chase requiring employees to return to physical offices, many of these transplants are finding themselves in a difficult position. They bought homes at peak prices, thinking they could work remotely forever, and now they're faced with either accepting lower-paying local jobs or selling their properties and moving back to expensive metropolitan areas. There is an insurance crisis that's developing in Florida right now. Major insurance companies are pulling out of the state entirely, leaving homeowners scrambling for coverage at any price. Citizens Property Insurance, the state's insurer of last resort, has seen its policy count explode from 800,000 to over 1.3 million in just 2 years. This isn't sustainable, and it's creating a hidden cost crisis that's making homeownership increasingly unaffordable for middle-class families. The insurance situation alone could trigger a wave of forced sales as homeowners discover they can no longer afford to maintain their properties. Mortgage lenders require insurance, so when policies become unavailable or unaffordable, homeowners face the stark choice of paying cash for coverage that might cost more than their mortgage payment or selling their homes. This creates a feedback loop where forced sales increase inventory, which drives down prices, which makes more homeowners underwater on their mortgages. If you're finding this information valuable, please take a moment to like this video and share it with anyone you know who might be considering purchasing property in Florida. The more people who understand these dynamics, the better decisions they can make for their financial future. The commercial real estate sector in Florida is experiencing its own crisis, which is interconnected with the residential markets. Office buildings in downtown Miami and Orlando are reporting vacancy rates above 30%, the highest levels since the early 2000s. When commercial real estate struggles, it affects local employment, which directly impacts residential demand. Many of the high-paying jobs that supported Florida's housing boom were in industries that are now contracting or relocating operations. The retail sector presents another troubling picture. Major shopping centers across the state are losing anchor tenants as retailers struggle with changing consumer habits and economic uncertainty. When retail jobs disappear, service sector employment follows, creating a downward spiral that affects housing demand across all price points. This isn't just about luxury properties, it's about the fundamental economic base that supports housing markets at every level. What's particularly concerning for potential homebuyers is the speed at which these changes are occurring. Markets that seemed stable just 6 months ago are now showing clear signs of distress. Homes that would have sold within days during the pandemic boom are now sitting on the market for months, even with price reductions. This rapid shift in market dynamics makes timing incredibly important for anyone considering a purchase. Here's where expert opinions become crucial, and this represents the climax of our discussion today. Dr. Sarah Chen, a real estate economist at Florida International University, recently published research showing that Florida's housing market exhibits classic bubble characteristics that preceded major corrections in other states. Her analysis indicates that price-to-income ratios in major Florida markets are at levels historically associated with significant market adjustments. Meanwhile, residential construction expert Michael Rodriguez warns that the state's rapid population growth during the pandemic created artificial demand that's now normalizing. His data shows that building permits have declined by 62% year-over-year in key markets, suggesting that even industry professionals expect demand to remain weak for the foreseeable future. The international investment factor that many people don't consider. Florida has historically attracted significant foreign investment, particularly from Latin American buyers seeking stable real estate markets. However, currency fluctuations and economic uncertainty in source countries have dramatically reduced this demand stream. Properties that once sold quickly to international cash buyers are now competing solely in the domestic market, where financing constraints and economic concerns are limiting buyer activity. The cryptocurrency wealth effect that drove some high-end purchases has also largely disappeared as digital asset values have stabilized at lower levels. Many of the cash buyers who seemed to have unlimited resources during the pandemic boom are now either less wealthy or more cautious about deploying capital in volatile markets. I want to remind you that if you're serious about real estate investment and you understand the complexities of navigating challenging markets, New Silver's fix and flip and investment loan programs might be worth exploring. You can find their information in the first link in the description, but remember, these programs are designed for experienced investors who can properly assess and manage risk in volatile market conditions. So what does all this mean for potential homebuyers? The key is understanding that we're in a transitional period where traditional market rules might not apply. Prices are declining, but that doesn't automatically make properties good deals if the fundamentals don't support current valuations. The most successful buyers in this environment will be those who take their time, conduct thorough due diligence, and have realistic expectations about future appreciation. If you're considering purchasing in Florida right now, focus on properties with strong rental potential in markets with diverse economic bases. Avoid areas that depend heavily on a single industry or demographic group, and make sure you can afford the property even if values continue declining for several years. Most importantly, work with real estate professionals who understand local market conditions and can provide objective analysis rather than sales pressure. The Florida housing market crash that experts are warning about isn't necessarily a disaster. It's a correction that will ultimately create opportunities for informed buyers while eliminating speculative excess. The key is having the patience and knowledge to navigate these waters successfully. Remember to subscribe to this channel for ongoing coverage of real estate markets across the country, and please share your experiences or questions in the comments below. If you're dealing with challenging market conditions in your area, I'd love to hear about it and potentially feature your story in future videos. Your engagement helps me create better content and reach more people who need this information. The housing market correction in Florida represents both challenge and opportunity, depending on how well prepared you are to handle the complexities involved. Stay informed, stay cautious, and remember that the best real estate decisions are made with patience and thorough analysis, rather than emotional reactions to market movements.